Welcome to 32 Bar Cut, the show, a show where we talk with our friends about what it's like to be a performer. Today on 32 Bar Cut, the show, we are talking with Stephanie Styles from Kiss Me Kate and Zoe's Extraordinary Playlist.
It's time to welcome on our guest, my favorite by far, a Broadway star,
Stephanie Styles.
On 32 Bar
I am thrilled to introduce you to today's guest. She is someone that I consider a confidant, a colleague, an extremely talented actress, and a friend. Today's guest, Stephanie Styles.
Adrienne,
I love you so much.
I'm so happy. 32 Bar, it's happening.
It's happening.
I'm here. I'm honored. Right back at you, and you said, but the thing I love about Adrienne the most is that sometimes I like to manage her career for myself, and because I just think she's the greatest thing ever. And I remember, well, first of all, we should, for anyone who doesn't know, we had a very intimate 2019, was that the front half, in that we were dressing room mates. The second floor, Studio 54, was our kingdom. And we were dressing room mates in this amazing tiny dressing room, living our best life on Broadway. And truly, like, you were the thing that kept me sane. You made the crazy moments like calm, and then you made the boring moments, which they're boring moments on Broadway, who's to say, but you made the boring moments extraordinary. So, but in between all of that, I would plan your career. And I remember, it's just like, you always gave the best advice. You had the best stories. I couldn't wait to hear about your day. So the fact that you now have a YouTube channel, it's so cohesive for me. It makes so much sense. I'm here for it. I'm one of your number one fans. My merch is on the way. And I'm so excited about this. And thank you so much for having me here.
I am so excited to have you here. I remember we were talking about this concept and I was like, you were my sounding board about this. And now it's all coming to life and you're one of our guests and I'm super excited. And
Honored.
I mean, if we're going to talk about Kiss Me Kate, like, you were my rock because I was going through all kinds of stuff that no one knew about. And you were there for me, listening to me, my crazy mood swings and all of it. Like, you're such a great dressing room mate. So great.
Has this been stated on the YouTube channel that you were on Broadway doing one of the most iconic dance numbers of all time with a broken toe?
I don't know.
Jumping up and down like 85 times on a broken toe.
No, I don't know that I haven't talked about it yet. And I think it's a testament to what we do as performers. Like, you don't want to call out, right? We both know what that feels like. It's a hard call to make. And so I had made a promise to myself because I started the show. I said, if I can sing, I will be at every show. And the only times you didn't see me was when I couldn't sing, broken toe and all. Like, I was there.
Yeah, I very much feel the same way. And I think that how I looked at it was, my job was to go to work, tell the truth, tell the story, and sing these notes. And at least for me, the way I rationalized it is, I said, my job is to sing this, whatever note it is. If I can't sing that note, I am not able to do the job that is being asked of me. And there's someone else amazing who can, and that is what I have to show up and do today. So that was kind of, especially for Kiss Me Kate, how I thought about that. But oh gosh, I have a notes thing on my phone of just random out of context Adrienne quotes. That is one of my favorite things ever. Unfortunately, I can't pull it up because I'm on my phone right now. But some of those things are amazing. You, out of nowhere, calling that BTS is going to be a big thing. You're like, they're going to be huge. Just like some of the greatest stuff of all time, that just like the snapshot of our time, it was incredible. And I couldn't have done without you. I don't ever want to do it without you again. So if people can just dream cast us in shows together,
Yes.
I'm for that. We just make that happen.
Stephanie, that is still by far the best closing gift I have ever gotten. So closing day, because it was really a matinee. I walk into the dressing room just on time, because that's classic me. I was just on time. And I look at my mirror and I set my things down, and my mirror is covered in these cute pink and white Post-its of quotes. And I take a look at one, and it is something that I have said randomly. And all the quotes on the mirror are just random things that I have said. And it really shed a light on how random we were in that room, and I had no clue that Stephanie was writing all of this down. She was writing it in secret and planning and plotting this brilliant closing night gift. It was awesome.
And it was because, again, you gave me such sage advice during that time. You also, we talked about our lives, but then there were just the random things that would only ever been in the dressing room, out of context, just chef's kiss of gems of words. And no, that was really, really fun. And I'm so glad we had that time together. And I miss our button rug. We had a button rug that was to us from it was the most random rug lives, but we had a good time. Getting ready for this, I was like, oh, what can I do my odes to Adrienne? Because I'm wearing this blue dress and floral, honestly, because Adrienne obviously has an incredible sense of style, but just how we have our favorite Spice Girls. My favorite Adrienne is when she does very coordinated, cohesive looks of color, and that it pops of color, but head to toe, cohesive, coordinated. We have the orange number that I love, the orange scarf, orange dress. The day of the Tonys, which this is a funny photo if this is ever uploaded. The day of the Tonys, Adrienne is wearing, we have 4 a.m. call or something wild. Full makeup, full everything. Radio City, go rehearse, come back, have 2 seconds, do a matinee, more rehearsal, Tonys. I throw clothes on my body that are, I don't know what they are, they're just clothes. Adrienne looks unbelievable. I believe you were wearing a button-up long sleeve floral dress and then definitely an accent color scarf. It was unbelievable. Anyways, I'm wearing blue with blue nails, my blue Kiss Me Kate ring in homage to you. And in a way, you are wearing black, which it was my go-to, just throw this on my body with leggings.
Yes, I love that. I love the simple black with tights and those Nike sneakers. That was Stephanie's look. And you made it look cute.
In and out.
You made it look cute.
Listen.
Kiss Me Kate was your Broadway debut. And what was the audition like? Walking in, Scott Ellis, Warren Carlyle. Was Jim and Yanni there? I can't remember. Was he in there?
My first audition, there were 2, it was truly shortest auditions of my life. I was living in LA at the time and had flown in for the audition. I had to sing the end of Always True to You or the beginning. The beginning. The whole beginning up until I don't even know if it was all the verses. Anyways, and then I had to do 2 scenes. I went in, I did the scenes, did the song. I remember I made them laugh at one point. Jem and Yanni, Scott was definitely there. And I think Warren was there. Did it. And then I was only in town a short amount of time. And I remember there had been some talk right at the last second when I landed in New York if I could stay the next week, and I couldn't because of something in LA. So I said, no, I stayed here the whole week hoping that this would, be a week-long thing. And they had said it's originally going to be one. So then I did my audition. The only thing they said was, you leave Saturday. And I was like, yes. And they're like, can you be here Wednesday? And I was like, yes. And then I left, and that's the only time in my life where anyone has ever asked me in the room to coordinate. like another audition. Like normally that's something you wait to hear your agents and they call you. So I left, and then they were like, yes, come back on Wednesday and dance. So then I was like, okay, I guess I'm going to need to go dance. And so I thankfully had brought my Laducas with me, but I remember they broke, and I was like, oh my God, my Laducas have broken. I need to go to Laduca and get these fixed. And so then I went on Wednesday and danced I did my original audition again, but they taped me for the Cole Porter estate, which is something I'd already done before because of Roman Holiday, and that was Cole Porter. Because I guess if you do a Cole Porter show and you're a principal, you have to be approved by the estate, I think is something. And so I'd done that before. I mean, you did the same thing. And then did the same thing, did it exactly the same, no notes or anything, which I normally like getting notes and feedback. I don't know about you, but like I love that in an audition.
Mm-hmm.
So didn't get that, then went and learned the combo, and I learned, like, I think I learned Too Darn Hot with just me, Warren Carlisle, and I remember it was just me. It was just me. And I would say dance is my least threatening threat of the triple. And so I did that, and I did my best. And but you know, Bianca Lois Lane was not in that number in the final production, and I think we know why. But it was great. I did that. I remember I was wearing this like suction bra, and I was getting all sweaty, and like the suction bra was coming off, so I had to like fish it out and like put it to the side. And then and then I did it, and they all watched me dance. And then I went home, and the next day I was walking to meet my friends at the park, and I got a call that I was gonna be on Broadway, and I was a happy mess.
Oh my gosh, I bet that was so exciting. So then did you get to tell your friends right away, or did you have to hold off? Or
I think my friends are in the biz.
Okay.
And so I did end up telling them. They knew something was up because normally I eat very clean. Yet I decided, I was meeting them apart, and I happened to be by the plaza, and I thought, you know what? Like I'm gonna go get me something from the plaza. And I went to the plaza, and they had these like really thin like crepe cakes. And I thought, you know, I'm meeting my girlfriends in the park. Like, I should just get a box of like these things. And so I got all these like sweets, and I brought them to the park, and I just started like chowing down. And they're like, something is up, because like I was eating gluten and dairy, and normally I don't eat gluten and dairy. And I was like, guys, I guess I'm gonna be on my way. Yes. And it was. Where were you when you found out? Because where were you when you found out about Lion King?
I was at the airport. It happened so fast. Yes. Like it was I had my initial audition with a tape, and then I flew in, and Stephanie, I did everything wrong. You know, like I wore the wrong shoes. I took the train in the wrong direction. And when I showed up to the movement call, she was like, why are you late? And I'm just like, I'm sorry, I don't live here. And, you know, but I left that movement call, took off to the airport, and by the time I got off the air train that takes you to JFK, I had a voicemail from my agent. And so I was in the airport, and I think the first person I told was like an airport attendant, because I was crying at the air train like check-in thing with the Metro card. I don't know what it's called. I was crying, and he was like, are you okay? And I was like, I am very much okay. Like I just had really great news. So it's like, it's such a life-changing moment, right? It's your Broadway debut, and nothing can top that first time, I think.
I don't know about you, but you were a theater kid. Like you liked theater as a kid, right?
No.
Adrienne. Oh yeah, I remember this.
You know
anything about Broadway.
You know this about me.
You don't know anything about Broadway. did you liked performing at least?
Well, I was a choir kid, so I did all the choral.
Now it's all coming back to me.
SSA,
You don't know
SATB. That's right. I am a total like I don't want to say imposter, but I've kind of just snuck in between the cracks and I'm like hanging out with everybody. But you remember this because we did that event for Kelly and I didn't know who the accompanist was and you were like, "Are you serious, Adrienne?"
I was like, "You don't know who Seth Rudetsky is?"
Yeah.
Adrienne. My favorite thing about you is that, yeah, this is something I know. Like, I know this about you, but I don't know. I think of like, I don't know. I just like in my head, I have like you in a dance outfit as a kid being like, but I know that maybe doesn't exist. But in my head, I have that. In my version, like you were a little performing. Well, this is all to say that for me, I took my first theater class when I was 4. So since I was a kid, my dream was to be on Broadway. That was, I guess, just how one would phrase the peak of what we do, right? Like that is, who's to say if it is? Like, I know that's like a whole nother conversation, but much like I'm sure if someone is in finance, they go, I want to be on Wall Street. Like, I feel like it was something when I was younger. And I think a lot of people when they're younger, they maybe want to be, a princess. And that's not really achievable for most people. And it was wild to have the thing that I've wanted since I was 4 actually follow that through and have it happen. So that was why I was asking. I was like, were you a theater kid? But you weren't. The amount of times I have told Adrienne she needs to sing certain songs or be certain parts, and she's like, what is this? Like, I'm going to look this up. You had one whole audition process while we were in Kiss Me Kate that I was like, even if you don't want to be in this, I need you to be in this. We had so many times where I was like, I need you to do this for me, even though you might not want to actually do this. But yeah, so that was what was wild about that. And then your audition process for Kiss Me Kate, I just remember weren't you like, I'm going to read these lyrics or I might not read these lyrics, and they were like memorize lyrics?
I said something so silly, and that's what always catches me off guard. Like in auditions, I have no censor. I should have some type of censorship over myself, but I guess I'm so nervous that everything just flies out. And so I made a little cheat sheet because the lyrics it felt like it's not a patter song, but it feels like it because it's just like, hey, lyric to lyric to lyric for another opening. And that's all they had me do. I didn't have to do a scene. They were just like, come in here, sing a couple of verses of another opening, finish it with a high note at the top and leave. So I was like, it was the oddest audition I ever had. Everything else, they required a lot more of me. So I was like, well, I'm not going to get this. So I made a little cheat sheet and I walked in and tried to sing the lyrics without looking at the cheat sheet and totally got off course. And I said, well, I made this cheat sheet and I didn't use it. And they all started laughing. I was like, was that funny? Okay, good. It was funny. All right, moving on. And so then they gave me another chance to do it again. And then they were like, oh, that was great. All right. And then I had to go in I think that was a Monday because it was a day off. Yeah, it was Monday. And then I went in on Wednesday at 10 a.m. and I was like, oh, it's so early because the final note was an A. But right. So I actually went to the park and walked Bella, my dog, and walked around the park singing the song to warm up and then hopped on the train and went or whatever. And then I got there and sang for them. And Warren was there and he's so lovely. And Scott Ellis got up and gave me a hug. And I was like, okay. And I walked out and that was it. And I think I found out a couple of days later. But it was so weird. It was so short.
It was very odd in the grand scheme of, I'm sure, all the auditions that we've been on. It was really cut and dry. It was really quick. It was like in, out, maybe a laugh, and good to go. I think it's that, and they had said, I think Scott said, when it was just one of those things that he was looking for these people, and when he saw the people, he saw them, and we just happened to be the two people that fit their puzzle piece of their version of Kiss Me Kate.
Yeah, because they
So
had done the
I'm lucky
reading
they
a
did.
couple of years before, and they only had a few roles to fill. A lot of our cast was from that reading. So it's just
Yeah.
really cool that you and I got to share that experience together, you know. And I feel like we make such a good duo in that way. Just like you said before, like if
Listen.
somebody casts us in another show together, oh man, it's going to be so fun.
I mean, listen, I could go off now and be like, what do we need to be? What can we be?
We
in?
need
You
to
would be like,
Galinda, and I'll be Elphaba.
done.
Like, done.
Love that.
Hello.
Do you know Guys and Dolls well enough? You're like, no. You're like, Stephanie, no. I'm like, because we have to figure out who we'd be in Guys and Dolls. You know, someone's usually a Sarah, someone's usually an Adelaide. That's a good one for us. But so we'll have some. But no, we had really good dressing room energy. I think I read somewhere recently, and this could totally be, because you're a Cancer, right?
I am. Through and through.
You are a Cancer.
Yeah.
Because it was like the Cancer Libra, I feel like we're good. We're both like good homemakers. So like it was very, we ended up, and like we had our beautiful, like my side was all like, it was very Alpha Glinda, and that like your side was like very like neutral, it's very like Zen, very like, yes. And mine was like,
yeah, yours was,
somehow they came together.
It was awesome. I felt like we had good vibes in that room, and it was a place of peace. And if you needed something, I kind of felt it, and I felt like if I needed something, you felt it. It didn't have to be said, which is what I loved.
No, it was great. It was always, we always felt it, and there was always coconut water.
Yeah,
when in doubt.
Yeah, when in doubt,
that was life.
Hydrate.
Oh
so I kind of want to talk about this because I know that some folks that are listening might not know like the ins and outs of what we face as performers with rejection or even just with disappointments. Like you might think that something's a sure thing and then things fall through and it doesn't happen. So originally you were cast in Roman Holiday, and that was going to be your Broadway debut. You did the out of town run. Yes. It was set to Broadway, and then it didn't happen. So what was that experience like?
Well, it was interesting because I learned really early on moving to New York, because I had a similar situation, but different in that I had auditioned for a revival of Funny Thing Happened on the Way to the Forum and got it, but then the production never happened, but that was going to be straight to Broadway. And then, but I got that call, like, you got Broadway. And then, actually, to be fair, I got a call being like, you've got this, but there's something, the dates of this may change. It just was, I never got like you got Broadway. I was walking to the plaza that one time. But, and then, so that didn't happen, but I learned, I was like, whoa, that was lucky anyways. Like that was my first, like one of my first auditions in New York City. I'm lucky to have even been there. And then, but I always thought like, oh, everything happens for a reason. Like somehow this will work out in the end or something. Then, you know, I did some shows, and then I got Roman Holiday, which was truly one of the greatest times of my life. That cast and that story and living in San Francisco was just, it was one of the most beautiful times of my life. I get nostalgic thinking about it. And doing that show was amazing. And, but I learned a lot. It was my first time, you know, I guess, was it like originating a role in a musical out of town? I was lucky in that it was Cole Porter. So all these songs were, you know, I wasn't totally learning completely new songs every night. They had to have existed before. So, and Cole Porter's generally easy to learn. So that was like a whole process, and that was like a wild audition process where I did a lot of things, sang a lot of songs, had to do a transatlantic accent, like all of these things. And then, yeah, but that was billed as a pre-Broadway engagement in San Francisco. And I did like interviews where people were like, how's it going to feel to be on Broadway? And I'm like, oldest dream, I'm so excited. And then it didn't happen. It didn't get a theater. You know, there's so many things involved. And that I remember being very disappointed because I loved it so much. Looking back, I'm like so glad it was this beautiful little thing that happened that some people happened to see. And I learned a lot about myself as a performer doing it. And I think that yeah, it was disappointing, but I think at that point I did my first show when I was 6 professionally. The thing that is force fed to us from day one, whether my day one is I'm 6 and your day one is you're 20 and playing Nala or whenever that was. But you're like, I just, disappointment. Be prepared to be disappointed. Be prepared that things are going to be tough. Be prepared to be constantly told no. So it was very interesting in that I kind of in my head thought that the no's and the disappointment would be glaringly obvious all the time. Like, yes, you didn't get this role in this audition. It was, but it made sense when I realized, oh no, there can be no's up until the last second. There can be no's until you could, knock on wood, be in a show and get injured or something. Like, you just never know. And so that was just definitely disappointing, but it propelled me to, take a different route. And, that season on Broadway had already been fully cast and I hadn't auditioned for anything because I had been in this other show. So I was like, why don't we go try pilot season in LA? Like, I had nothing else to do. And that was really scary and really like out of just like, I never take risks like that, just going to a new place and trying things out. But I went and I got so lucky and I got a pilot. Again, pilots often don't get picked up. This one didn't. But I learned so much and it was still one of the best moments of my life. So, and I'm running on, but it's like the person who casts Roman Holiday casts Kiss Me Kate.
Mm-hmm.
So the Office, Carnahan and all of them, like they had believed in me my whole career. And finally it felt so right that my Broadway debut was one of their shows that they were casting. And Roundabout had given me my New York off-Broadway debut in a play I did with them. So I loved Roundabout and the Carnahan Office. So it all kind of felt meant to be, or at least, the journey made sense. So that was really an interesting thing. But I think, it's good to deal with disappointment and all, shapes and form, but it made me even more grateful for my final Broadway debut. But also, and I don't know if you felt this way about Kiss Me Kate, going into a show like Lion King that is so like, it's a hit, that like every show is a hit, like Monday, I don't care, Tuesday through Sunday, Lion King is incredible. And that you're going into the show that is this well-oiled machine. You are literally a Disney princess. And that you're getting to be a part of this thing that works. You've done it. You did Broadway. You did 8 shows a week. You knew how it was. But then you open your first show on Broadway, having kind of had like I know how to do this jitters out, but still having like your first like gypsy robe, your whole legacy robe, and all those things you had for the first time.
Yeah, I
like how
didn't know any of that happened. You saw me taking it all in. Like I got to the theater a little later than I wanted to. I mean, I was early for the call, but I didn't know that there was so much, for lack of a better phrase, pomp and circumstance. Like I didn't know that there was so much to an opening night. I thought that all of that happened after the show. I didn't know that there were so many ceremonial things before we actually went on stage. So my getting there early was just, let me put my gifts out and sit down and get ready. And everyone's like, okay, come downstairs for the legacy robe. And I'm like, what? And there's a speech and I'm like, oh my gosh, this is so magical and powerful. So I mean, just like my entire career, I learn as I go and I'm figuring things out as I go. And because I wasn't a theater kid, I think there's so much about the culture of Broadway that I'm still absorbing and learning and celebrating and enjoying, kind of like in a childlike way, because it's so new and fresh for me. But speaking more to what you said about discovering that it all worked out for your better good, just like it may have been somewhat disappointing or a little bit of a letdown to not do Roman Holiday, but it seemed like it all worked out just the way it was planned for you. And sometimes that happens for us. Like you don't know when you're experiencing it, but then when you look back, you're like, this happened just the way it was supposed to happen, and it just lined everything up for you?
Yeah, and I think, I'm a very positive, optimistic
You
person.
are.
And there are definitely times in my life. I mean, we've had them in our dressing room where I was just like, nope, now's the time to be negative. And I think, this whole like everything happens for a reason, like it's all meant to be. Like I know those can be like saccharine and, very cheesy, but it sustains me. I think it's the thing that, keeps me going. And I think we all have our versions of that. But I'm all for being very disappointed and very eating a pint of ice cream, dairy free or full of dairy, for like a good 72-hour period after major disappointments. And then it's about, okay, like, how can let's keep on going, let's pivot, or what did we learn from the think that I'm really glad Kiss Me Kate was my Broadway debut, because I think I learned a lot, and I felt very Lois was a part that was just like such a gift. Like her numbers are so great. And it also, like, I loved doing a show with the greats.
Yeah.
Like doing a show with Kelly and Will, like they are royalty. And so doing a show with them was really great, and being led by them, but then also having you to like giggle with, like on the side, being like, tee.
Yeah.
So that was fun.
Oh man, yeah, it was. I also feel like you got that taste of pilot season, and so then you were able to walk in confidence when you went out for some more TV and film roles. Like a lot of friends I have that have, gone from auditioning a lot to finally booking something and then booking a little more. Your confidence grows with each one of those yeses, or those maybes or pins. And so last year you got the opportunity to debut on NBC with Zoe's Extraordinary Playlist, which is amazing. So what was the audition process like for that? Was it speedy and quick like Kiss Me Kate? Was it a little drawn out?
That, what's so interesting about that is I don't know if I've like talked a lot about my Zoe's audition. It was so random in that it was, I had moved back out to LA for like a little bit of time. And it was one of those things where I'd heard about this show, and that it was coming and it was happening. And then I got the audition, and it was at a time when, much unlike now, when there were a lot of auditions. And it just, came across my desk, was like, this is something you could go in for. And I looked at the breakdown, and this is like an interesting thing that I know we've talked about, because there was a time where you came into the dressing room and you were like, I have to do this assignment for something. You were like taking a course or something, and you had to come up with like, what are parts that already exist in television film that like you could play and things like that. We've talked about type, and like how type isn't even really a thing, and like, what is that? But there was something about this breakdown that, despite her being this very like Zen, I think it said moonbeams and rainbows type of wildflower, that it had some adjectives about her that were ones that I often see in descriptions of things that I book. And I kind of went, oh, well, this one might be like one I could get out of all of these that are like very different from me or whatever. But the audition, they said, prepare these 3 scenes, prepare I Want to Dance with Somebody by Whitney Houston, and an angsty rock song of your choice, and a 30-second dance.
And a 30-second dance?
A 30-second dance. And I had just moved back to LA and was like, oh, I can throw those Laducas back in the closet. I won't be having to dance anytime soon or sing. And of course, I'm like popping the Ricolas back out, like being like, oh God, here we go again. But so I, memorized the scenes. I think thankfully they had said, because I was like, I could never sing I Want to Dance with Somebody. Like, that is asking, it's like singing a Mariah Carey song, like just these people who have voices bigger than the solar system. And, but they thankfully had said, like, it needs to be sad and moody. And I was like, okay, maybe I can do a sad version of I Want to Dance with Somebody. And then I had this angsty rock song that I randomly learned in college once for something. So I had that. But then they had the 30-second dance. And I knew the choreographer's name, Mandy Moore, Emmy winner, Mandy Moore. She's an incredible choreographer, has done a lot on So You Think You Can Dance, etc. She did La La Land, like incredible work. So I kind of knew what her stuff looked like. And I knew she was really big into storytelling. And so I said, for this 30-second dance, I need to choose a song that is very descriptive, And so I landed on, what did I choose? Say a Little Prayer for You.
Nice.
So like I choreographed a dance, 30-second long dance that was very much like, every morning I wake up, I'm gonna put on my makeup. But then like I had like dancing, like kicks, and I did like not a fouette, but like what are those called? All the Tom, Dick, and Harry guys. But I did like a little chorus line, but I all did it while like I was like, say a little prayer for you. So like I did like prayer and put on my makeup and did like all the acting things. So I knew this was a show about real life people that happened to like their heart songs, what they were feeling is how they manifested in like dance. So it was very pedestrian, but then also very emotional. So I did that, and like I had to play it on my phone, like in the room. So then I go to the audition, just sitting in the waiting room, wildest waiting room I've been in a really long time. And that the waiting room was like Zoe's, some lawyer procedural, and then American Horror Story. So everyone auditioning, the most different looking people, but also dressed very specifically. Like they had all the girls audition bottom that were like, we're moonbeams and rainbows. And then there were like men in suits. And then there were people like American Horror Story. And so it was a really fun room that I just went in. I did the scenes, I did the songs, I did them a cappella, and then I did the dance. And it was an audition where we talked a lot in the room. There was a lot of talking in between things, just about life and things. And when I do think my dance is what might have sealed the deal. And I actually have been told in retrospect that my dance was a part of me getting this part, in that, I think that was a lesson of, you're presented with 30-second dance. You're like, what? And from what they were saying in the room, I think a lot of people went in and either like really danced or just kind of like bopped around for a little bit, like moved. And any of those could have been right for a totally different audition. But this was one where I did the research. I knew this was Mandy Moore. I was like, okay, this is kind of what it looks like. And I really practiced this dance. And I had time, so that was great. But the way they reacted to the dance, I think, was as though they hadn't seen anyone put that amount of thought into it that day yet. Maybe someone had, I don't know. But like, that was what it seemed. And I remember leaving that audition being like, I wonder if I'm going to be in Vancouver in a few weeks. And then it was one of those things where I think they called a few people who were like, do you know this girl? Like, we're thinking of hiring her. So I started to hear like trickles of people being like, hey, I just got a call about you. And then sure enough, I got a call one day that I was going to be in Zoe's and then I was going to be off to Vancouver on and off for the next 3 months. And it was amazing. It was so fun and great.
Oh my gosh. I love that story. Cause I missed this, like if you had that experience when we were together, I would have heard the whole thing. So I missed
You would
this.
have seen the dance.
Oh yeah, I would have seen the dance.
You would have been like, I'd be like, Adrienne, is this a good dance? Is this looking good? Like, what do you think? This was like my essay, a little prayer for you. That was someone taught me in high school that I stole from all the cheerleaders.
I love it.
But yeah, so like that was, I think, the auditions that stick out to us sometimes are the really wild ones where things like that happen. I think mostly, I don't know if you do a lot of commercial auditions. I feel like commercial auditions are always the one where you have to do something super random. But yeah, this was one of those where I had to do a 30-second dance. I don't know if they still do that. I wonder if they still do that for Zoe's. But some people I have audition, I haven't heard that they've had to do that. But I mean, it was great in that I ended up dancing in that show, and I'm glad that they saw what I could do, and they were really great and collaborative, making us all look and feel very comfortable. But it is funny that, again, as my least threatening of the triple threats, I somehow find myself dancing with Corbin Blue and Rick and Will, and
you
dancing on
killed
Zoe's
it.
and dancing in Newsies.
I'm telling you, Stephanie, the way they were whipping you around on Tom, Dick, and Harry, like you killed it. And Zoe's playlist, so good. So good. The way you let him know.
Well, you're going to be on it next.
Oh my gosh. Right. Well, okay. I won't speak ill. I won't speak ill of myself. But I'm trying to give you accolades. Let me give you accolades.
Listen,
you shined in that show. You were so great. And what's funny about
sweet.
Autumn is that I think people who may not know you may think that you're all like, flitty and everything, but you're not. You're very structured and ordered, and you have organization to your life. Like you're timely. You're not the girl that's gonna get lost at the beach and then be late for an appointment. That's just not you. So it's funny to see you play this character who's squirrel. It's funny, but I think you do a great job. You do a fantastic Autumn.
And I think that is, I would be anxious where you are on your journey with this sort of thought, in that one of the words that Autumn that kind of was like, it said that she was very Zen. She's this hippie or whatever, but she's very innocent, and she's like a romantic. And I think this idea of whether it's innocence or it's newness, but that is something that has kind of followed me in my roles, even with the most intelligent of women that I've played, down to the Lois Lane, what would we say, ignorantly blissful. It's something that followed these characters, in that Lois was so new. Like I can see myself walking on the stage being like, wow, this is a stage, like new to the environment. And Autumn looked at everything like it was new. Like she did see, a rainbow in an oil spill. Like she saw, she looked at the world with this childlike wonder. And I think that was something I kind of keyed in on. And then, Lois and even Roman Holiday, that is this princess who's never gets to leave the palace, gets to visit Rome for once. And there's so much newness. And I don't like to think of type as ingenue, best pal, those things. It's more of maybe an essence. And I've definitely played roles that aren't innocents. Like Lois Lane is not an innocent, but there is this quality about her that is new and in awe, and maybe just very, I am always true to you. That's just cut and dry sort of thing. I almost went into Lois there for a second. But what are you, in your search, have there been any things that have linked your roles that you've played, or pieces that really resonate with you? What are those? When you come across them? I
have gotten a lot of feedback when I get in the room of regal. That's a lot of what I hear, which is funny because when I think of myself, I don't really think that. I think of I was the kid that
stuff like this.
I was the kid that was bringing roly-polies in the house, you know what I mean? And picking up spiders and naming them, and, just very much in the dirt and very much a tomboy. My mom forced me to wear a dress every Wednesday. And I was like, please God, no, I can't play in this dress, So it's funny to be an adult now and be, and for people to use the adjective regal for me, but it must be a quality that I have because, when I go through the line of the roles that I've done, they're always, some type of powerhouse, some woman that speaks her mind, that has ownership of who she is. It's very assertive. And I find myself trying to find that in my life. You know what I mean? To be more assertive, to speak up, to not cower, to not shrink. So it is interesting that you see little moments of yourself in the characters that you play. And it also is a way to tap into that and to own it for a little bit, to wear them a little bit and see what it's like to be that person. But speaking of childlike wonder, I think it's a good segue for our stage door round because we are going to do some Disney trivia. Are you ready?
I'm here for it with the actual Disney princess. I'm just a Disney reporter. I just was a Disney reporter. You were talking about Regal.
Look, you're in the Disney family.
You ruled over those Pride Lands. Those Pride Lands.
Okay.
It's all about you.
I really feel like you're gonna like knock all of these out. We'll have to like get you a special prize.
That I'm not.
Okay, so I picked some of them are like, you know, the Broadway musicals. They've been turned into Broadway musicals, and then some are very true to Disney Park, that type of stuff. Okay, you ready?
Okay.
All right.
Oh gosh, yes.
Who trained Hercules to be a hero?
Phil.
Yes, see, you're like obvious. Great. Okay, how many brothers does Prince Hans of the Southern Isles have in Frozen?
Oh, I think he has 7, but that might be wrong. It might be 6. How many does he have? Oh, 11?
12. He has 12.
Well, I failed.
Okay, that's just one. 12. One and one. Austin's keeping score.
I failed. I'm sorry. Hans. I'm sorry. Actually, I'm not sorry, Hans, because we don't have time for Hans.
No, Hans is a fail. Thumbs down to Hans.
I wiped him out.
Is that in the movie, The 12 Brothers?
I guess so.
Or is it in the musical?
I think he leads into. I think he definitely mentions them in Love is an Open Door, because I do have to say, spoiler, if you haven't seen Frozen, that I do like a complicated villain. And so he is someone that he has these 12 brothers, so he will never be royalty. He feel like he can't get anything, and he has this a lot of trauma with that. And so he has this warped sense of like, oh, I need to marry someone who's royalty, and that's the way I could get ahead. I don't know. It's complicated, but I at least like that it's, you know, it's not black and white for Hans.
You've given this thought. I can appreciate that.
But I don't know his brothers. I don't know.
Okay. What are the names of Cinderella's stepsisters?
Gisela and Anastasia.
Done.
Not the Fox one. Not the Fox. Not Christy Altamar. A different Anastasia.
That's right. Okay. What are the names of Hades' minions in Hercules?
Pain and Panic.
Yeah. Okay. The sorcerer's name in Fantasia spells what backwards?
Yensid spells Disney backwards.
You on a roll. Okay.
Listen.
Genie was stuck in the lamp for how many years before Aladdin found him?
15 years. I can hear Robin Williams. So he's like, 15 years. Can get a crick in the neck. Is it 2,000 years or something like that?
You're close with the T.
10,000.
Yes.
10,000 years.
You are so good. You are so good at this. Okay.
No.
Which Disney princess attended Elsa's coronation day in Arendelle?
Well, Adrienne, that would be Rapunzel, accompanied by Eugene Fitzherbert, also known as Flynn Rider, who calls Rapunzel Blondie. There we go. We covered all the names.
Work. That is it. You are on a roll. Okay. What is Tarzan's adopted mother's name?
Oh, adopted mother. I was like, oh my gosh, I don't know his birth mother's name. Adopted Kala.
Yes.
Kala.
Yes.
Right? Glenn
That's
Close.
It. Work.
Glenn Close.
What name does this one's easy. What name does Mulan pick for herself while pretending to be a man?
Wait, I love that you think, I mean, I know it's Ping, but like you think that this is easy when I don't think this is an easy one. I just think you're obsessed with Mulan.
Yeah, I might be slightly obsessed.
You love Mulan.
I do love Mulan.
I love Mulan too.
I'm like, oh yeah, this one's easy. All those others, I have no idea, but this one's easy.
Nothing beats dishonor on you, dishonor on your cow. Nothing beats it. That's one of Mushu's best lines.
Okay, this is the last one. Which classic movie is Wall-E a fan of?
Out there's a world outside of Yonkers. Hello, Dolly.
Yes, you are so good at this. Oh my gosh. Austin's doing a Val
It
over
does,
there in the
Adrienne.
corner.
While you were off playing in the dirt and having fun and refusing to put on a dress, Stephanie was like, "What? Where can I learn Disney musical theater? Because one day I'm going to have a dressing room mate who's not only a Disney princess but knows nothing about this profession. I'm going to have to educate her." You're just prepping me.
Okay, so I ask everybody, all of our guests, this question. So for you, we're going to pick someone from the Kiss Me Kate cast, or 3 someones from the Kiss Me Kate cast. So from the cast of Kiss Me Kate, who would you slap? Who would you hug? And who would you take to lunch?
Wow, my little positive optimist self is like, I could never slap anyone. But no, well, let's see. I would definitely take to lunch Kelly O'Hara, because I feel like you go to lunch with people that are like, oh, I need to like tell me, like I want to be eating a salad while she just is like telling me things about Broadway and how amazing she is. So definitely would love to get lunch and have wisdom with Kelly. You know what I'm going to say? Don't want to slap anyone. I would never want to slap anyone. So if I had to, really give you an answer, though, is that I would pick someone who was trained in fighting, who knows how to take a slap, who might have been at fight call every morning or evening, depending on the show, to which I will say, although I love him, Will Chase. I would slap Will Chase because he knows how to take that slap in the show. He would be prepared. I think he'd laugh and he'd be like, of course, I'm the one that you would have to put for this. So I think he would understand. And then hug, I would hug you.
Yay.
I miss you.
Aww.
And you always smell very good. And so that would be a good hug. So you, and then, Corbin. I'd throw Corbin in there too. I'd like to hug Corbin. But those would be mine. Do you have them?
Oh my gosh, no one's asked me that. Oh, I'm on the spot. Okay. Who would I slap? I'll just get it out there. I would slap. Ooh. Okay, I'll choose the same person for all of it. I would slap Derek Kobe and then I'd give him a hug and then we'd go get over it with lunch.
Amazing.
He might never forgive me though.
Oh my gosh, that's incredible.
So is there
He made me lose it so much.
Oh my gosh, Derek Kobe is hilarious. He's so funny.
Him in that little booth with that newspaper, I can't.
He's having a whole scene just on his own. He's priceless. So we're bringing the show to a close, but are you sticking around for the curtain call?
Oh, you better believe it.
All right. So before we let you go, is there anything you want to mention, any causes you want to mention, or anything you're working on that we should look out for?
I think you can follow me on my Instagram, which is at bystyles, BYSILES. I have some stuff coming out, but I don't know what any of them are. And when it comes to any causes or anything, a few organizations I love that you should check out are the Innocence Project, the Trevor Project, and Laughing at My Nightmare, and always the Actors Fund.
Love that. Stephanie, I can't thank you enough for being on the show today. You were so much fun. If you are interested in seeing more of Stephanie, you can check her out on Zoe's Extraordinary Playlist. You can follow her on Instagram at bystyles, and be sure to support her causes, the Innocence Project, and of course, always the Actors Fund. Bye, Stephanie.